I was involved in looking after the government interests. Students used to come to my house. I used to apply for scholarship. So he came to see the government community, especially the student. I had a very good relation with the Vice Chancellor at that time. He was a very good friend of mine. In fact, it is he who wrote to me 3 executive years that I should go to his university. So when Kamabaji came, I went to the Vice Chancellor. I told him, this is our ambassador. I was able to secure free accommodation for him and transport. And I invited him to my house, and he was very happy. Returning to Jeddah, he telephoned me. And I thought that, well, he appreciated my hospitality and help we gave to him. He told me, congratulations. I said, what? He said, you've been appointed ambassador. I said, no, because this is not what I'm looking for. I've never accepted. He said, well, this is the decision of the head of the state, and you are expected to react. Accept it, you don't accept it. So I went to the Vice Chancellor, and I told him, well, this is, he sent me a telex that this is from the Foreign Ministry, you are appointed ambassador. I saw it to Vice Chancellor. He told me, don't accept it. I said, why? He said, well, now, Omar, you are an intellectual, associate professor, you have freedom of speech, you can travel freely, you can do whatever you want, no restriction. If you accept this, you will become just what do you call it, a bread, he said, Sahil Barit in Arabic means that the letter distributors. Your role will be you just receive and then you distribute letters. Don't accept it. I told him, yes, I think you have a good point, but this is an honor given to me by my head of state. I cannot reject it. So I contacted my family. My wife was there in my Riyadh, and I made a telephone call here. My Imam Masya was here, and my brothers. They see that, well, you have to, with all sacrifice. So I accepted it. I accepted it with a lot of difficulties, because I've never been trained as a diplomat. I have no idea about running an embassy. I have no idea of being ambassador extraordinary plenipotentiary who speak in the name of my government. And believe me, when I received the letter of credence that I was to present to the king, I was a little bit uneasy, a little bit afraid, because what is said in that letter about me was more than what I am. But I say, okay, I'll take the challenge. I came here, report to the ministry. I was supposed to have some kind of diplomatic orientation somewhere, 1 month, 2 months, to see how embassies are run. But I was given just a chance to go to Dakar. In the embassy, there was Ambassador Wada, he's a good friend of mine. But again, very little. But thank Allah, in my background as a scholar, as a researcher, I learned very quickly what diplomacy is all about, how you can run an embassy, how you can promote good relation between your country and others, and how you protect your countries.
Let me ask this specific question. In the whole of your diplomatic career, would you quote one incident that you think really presented the most challenging diplomatic nightmares for you?
The most difficult part is that when we came to assume the chairmanship of this reconciliation committee, Iran decided to boycott OIC and its own mediation effort.
In protest?
In protest that the Secretary General and the whole OIC is biased. They are supporting Iraq, who's the aggressor, and they fail to identify who is.
So you got a credibility problem with Iran?
It's a credibility problem with Iran. Iran refused to see us.
And in diplomacy, that's a nightmare.
No, it's a nightmare. So I stepped in as a new ambassador. My first task is to get Iranian talk to us. And it took a long time and very difficult. I can tell you, I went out of the diplomatic channels to invoke the assistance of people I know before.
There are important issues that I think we have to talk about before we end this interview, given your background and your full of experience, distinct as a diplomat, all the things that are happening in the world now. Islam, some believe, has an image problem.
Well, Keba, let me tell you one thing. Islam doesn't have an image problem, but Muslims have. It's not Islam. Islam, I give you some literature here, and I'll give you more. Islam is properly understood and completely applied would help to solve human problems. And I think our misunderstanding of Islam, our misinterpretation of Islam, and our approach in the name of Islam to the world problem, this is the basic problem we're facing now. Let me give you one example. You cannot deal with anything without having a definite definition of it. Islam is a religion. We say it's a religion of peace. But Islam is a religion of knowledge. We have to have a definition of knowledge first. What is knowledge that Islam would like us to promote and to spread? The better definition of knowledge is that knowledge is a characteristic of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself. You have to start knowing Allah before you know what he creates. You know him through his creation. But you have to understand that he creates from nothing and he maintains, sustains what he creates. How does he maintain what he creates? He maintains what he creates through man, through human being. Human being is being created in a special form and in a special perspective. He's the only creature who's capable of knowing what the Creator wants in his creation. In other words, he's the only one who knows the purpose of creation and the object of creation and how you maintain what he creates.
But Professor, what's your position in this so-called global war on terror?
No, let me tell you, let's start with the globalization itself. I have written extensively on the globalization. I think I will try to get some of my globalization. Globalization is a creation of a global village in which you have only one culture, only one market, only one political system. If you go outside of the circle, you are in trouble. That is why in globalized world, we don't have means to compete. In the market, you need capital, you need production capacity, you need access to the market, you need means to service your product. No, we cannot compete at that level. In the political level, it's a free democracy. Free democracy people who